Admiral Zexathara clicked her mandibles in satisfaction as the Caltharian battle fleet moved into position around the human colony of New Terra. The primitive species had been expanding too rapidly, claiming systems that rightfully belonged to the Empire. Today they would learn their place in the galactic hierarchy. "Initiate communications jamming," she ordered from the bridge of her flagship Sovereign's Wrath. "Full spectrum disruption, cut them off from their precious fleet." The communications officer, a young Caltharian with barely faded molting scars, hesitated. "Admiral, our intelligence suggests humans have unusual communication methods. Perhaps we should execute the order," Zexathara snapped. The Empire had conquered 47 species using the same tactics: isolate, demoralize, then demand surrender. Humans would be no different. The jamming pulse erupted from the Caltharian ships, a cascading wave of electromagnetic interference designed to disrupt every known form of interstellar communication. Within moments, all standard transmissions from New Terra went silent. On the planet below, Colonel Sarah Chen watched. Her command center's displays flicker and die. The familiar hum of quantum entanglement communicators fell silent, leaving only static where the voices of Earth Command should have been. "Ma'am," Sergeant Rodriguez called out, "all long-range comms are down. They've cut us off from the fleet." Chen nodded grimly. She'd expected this. The Caltharians were predictable. They always started with communications jamming. What they didn't understand was that humans had backup systems they'd never encountered before. "Rodriguez, initiate. Emergency Protocol 7. The sergeant's eyes widened. "Ma'am, are you sure once we activate that? Do it." Rodriguez moved to a reinforced console in the corner of the room, one that had remained untouched during their 3 years on New Terra. His hands trembled slightly as he input the authorization codes. The console came to life with a soft, almost musical hum. Miles away in the deepest bunker beneath New Terra's capital city, ancient machinery stirred to life. Equipment that predated humanity's first steps into space began its centuries-old function. Radio telescopes turned skyward, not to listen, but to broadcast. The signal that emerged was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. It wasn't the clean, digital precision of modern communication. It was raw, analog, and utterly unstoppable. The electromagnetic pulse that had silenced humanity's advanced technology had inadvertently provided the perfect carrier wave for something far more primitive and infinitely more dangerous. Aboard Sovereign's Wrath, the communications officer suddenly jerked upright. "Admiral, we're detecting an unusual transmission from the planet. It's breakthrough our jamming." Zexathara's compound eyes focused sharply on the displays. "Impossible. Our jamming field is absolute." "It's not using quantum entanglement or subspace," the officer reported, mandibles chattering nervously. "It's using electromagnetic radiation directly, riding our own jamming pulse like a carrier wave. The signal is, Admiral, it's reaching other systems." What the Caltharians didn't know, what no species in the galaxy knew, was that humans had never truly abandoned their oldest form of long-distance communication. Even as they developed faster-than-light messaging and quantum entanglement networks, they maintained a network of radio transmitters as a final failsafe. Not for talking to their own ships, but for talking to something else entirely. The signal reached Sol system within hours, its primitive radio waves somehow amplified and focused by the very technology meant to stop it. Deep space monitoring. Stations received the message and immediately began broadcasting a response that had been prepared decades earlier, but never used. Every human ship within 100 light-years received the same transmission. Emergency Protocol 7 was active. The colony was under attack and Earth was coming. Admiral Zexathara first realized something was wrong when her fleet's sensors detected ships dropping out of hyperspace at the system's edge. Not just 1 or 2 vessels, but hundreds. Human military ships that had been scattered across a dozen. Systems suddenly appeared as if summoned by some cosmic force. "How?" she whispered, watching her tactical display fill with hostile contacts. "We cut their communications. They couldn't have called for reinforcement." Her intelligence officer, a veteran of dozens of campaigns, spoke in hushed tones. "Admiral, Our xenoarchaeologists have found references to something in human history. Before they had faster-than-light travel, they used electromagnetic waves for communication. But they also used it for something else: coordinate attacks across their entire planet simultaneously. The first human ship entered weapons range, and Zexithara's blood ran cold as she recognized the configuration. These weren't colonial defense vessels or patrol ships. These were warships, heavily armed, battle-tested, and moving with the coordination of a species that had been preparing for this moment since they first looked up at the stars. The human fleet commander's message came through on standard frequencies. Calm and professional. Caltharian vessels, you are ordered to withdraw immediately. You have 10 minutes to comply. Zexithara's pride flared. Her fleet outnumbered the humans 2-1. All ships, attack formation. Show these primitives the power of the Empire. The battle that followed would be studied in military academies for generations. The humans fought with a coordination that seemed impossible. Ships separated by thousands of kilometers moving as one, anticipating each other's actions with uncanny precision. Every time the Caltharians adapted to their tactics, the humans shifted as if sharing a single mind. What the Empire never understood was that humans had spent millennia coordinating complex operations using nothing but electromagnetic waves bouncing through space. They had practiced synchronization on a planetary scale using the most primitive technology imaginable. When the Caltharians jammed their advanced communications, they had inadvertently forced humanity to revert to something far more dangerous: a communication system that turned the galaxy itself into a conductor. As Sovereign's wrath limped away from New Terra with half its fleet destroyed, Admiral Zexithara finally understood why 47 conquests meant nothing. They had never faced a species that could turn a disadvantage into a weapon, that could make the enemy's own technology work against them. The humans didn't just communicate, they conducted symphonies of destruction using the very medium their enemies tried to deny them. And now across the galaxy, other species would learn what the Empire had discovered too late. When you try to silence humanity, sometimes you give them the loudest voice of all. The radio waves continued to pulse outward, carrying not just information, but a promise. Humanity was no longer content to merely survive among the stars. They were ready to claim their place, one frequency at a time.